Hello everyone and welcome back to this episode of Feed the Beast Revelation 2. In this episode we're going to go over a few things, mostly farms, and I did actually make a farming station. Okay, there's zombies dying up there. So the recipe consists of electrical steel, iron, these energized bimetal gears, diamond, and an industrial machine chassis, which requires this industrial powder coating, which in turn is organic green dye, and then organic black dye, and then some other things like quartz and lapis. So the organic green dye requires slime, and then like clippings that you get from grass or from trees. So all that to make this device. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hook that up. And we have our machines out here. They are continuously churning through some stuff that I dug up. So we're getting some more materials. And we're going to work on the farm so we can get some more power. And we'll probably stick with these coal generators for a few more episodes. Then we'll probably upgrade something different. Maybe some lava. That sounds like it might be a good plan. Alright, so let's grab that. I'm gonna fill these up a little bit. 16. Let's do 8. 8, 8, 8. Sounds good. Alright. Yeah, so we need a farm, which is going to require a few things. So what we're going to need is the farm. We're going to need a way to craft an axe, preferably a wooden axe. So we're going to need one of those crafting items from, I think, RF Tools. It's RF Tools, I believe. Oh yeah, Crafter. RF Tools Crafter, probably tier 2 is what we're going to need. They're very easy to make. It's just a little bit of blue dye and then or lapis iron. That's roughly it. Then wood and some redstone. Everything we have. So we need I keep hitting shift because I'm so used to playing other games like Fortnite and stuff. We have to sprint with shift. Alright, so we do have some extra industrial powder. What we're gonna need is 2 sticks, some lapis. We should have lots of lapis. A few lapis. Iron. We have lots of iron. And redstone. More wood. We have some wood left. Alright, so what is the rest? There's a recipe for this. It's really easy to make. Okay. Not that. Alright. So let's just look up crafter. Like this. There is one that you can do Ender IO. I'm not too familiar with this one. This might actually be a good one to try to make at one point. I think it's powered though. So we have to power that. This one is not powered though. We don't need to power this one. Okay, so we can make this one gold nuggets. Let's get this one going. 2 gold nuggets. And let's make these. Alright, there's 1 part. There's 2 parts. Let's see, we need to have, okay, so we have 2 recipes. One will be to break up the wood into, well, actually, we're going to need some more parts to this. We're going to need more recipes. We need to make sticks, we need to make wood planks, and we're going to need to make an axe. So that's going to be all the things we're going to need to make. Alright, so tier 2 just requires some more wood. There we go. Tier 2. So this one will give us 4 recipes. So I'm going to work on this system where we can set up everything we're going to need to get this farm going. Then we'll switch over to that for tree production. So I'll do that and I'll be back. Alright, we are back and we have an incredibly complex system set up here for this farm, this farming station from Ender.io. So as you can see, this is the interface. We need to have a capacitor in there. So the capacitor sets the size and the area that this thing will farm. So if we look at this, we can see that this is set to be this size based on the basic capacitor. But if we had a bigger capacitor, this would expand out even more. It'll double in size, and then if we had the highest level capacitor, it will even triple in size based on compared to what it is now. So what I'm going to get now is a lever, because I forgot to get that. And then I'll go through the entire setup from start to finish so that you will know exactly how this works. These are a little more complex than your other farming type stations, but these are, in my opinion, much better. They're more efficient in how they work. So these things will check every square for trees, for seeds, whatever. And as soon as that square is ready, it will automatically harvest it. Whereas other farms, they'll check each square individually, like this one and this one and this one, in a row, all the way through the whole thing. And so you may have, a lot of trees build up before it even finds a actual tree to farm. So they're not as fast. They do require a decent amount of power to use, 40 just 40 RF per tick. I have 2 coal generators powering this thing. And we'll get into this whole thing in a second on how I'm doing this. We have a lot of moving parts in here. But just the basics that you need to have this to work is a axe of any kind. It has to be vanilla. So it's either an iron, diamond, whatever. You need some saplings, or you can even use something else like I don't know, like the seeds or whatever. I'm going to lock these all down because I'm going to just use it for tree farming. And we need a capacitor to store the power. If you didn't have this capacitor in here, this whole thing would not work. You'd lose your power. So it does require a capacitor. You can configure like which direction things go in and out. So we can just do whatever, I have everything set up on the conduits, but you can automatically pipe things in and out on the sides, top, whatever. What I will do is I'll use a lever on top. It says no seeds. So this thing should record, yeah, it does do trees. See, it has like a tree sapling picture shows up, and there's wood here for the outputs. So I don't know, we'll get to that in a second. I haven't turned this on yet. So I have set to active with signal. So we have our thing up here. Should be able to power it on, and there we go. We have our trees being planted. And it's not going to have a lot of saplings. Now, one thing I did not check is if the saplings refill in this section as soon as they're used. So I'll need to check that out in a second. But while this thing is running, I'm going to go sleep now so that we won't be interrupted during the explanation of this whole thing. Let's get some dirt while we're at it. Should take that much, should be good. We can fill in this hole so that we'll be able to plant everything on here. One of your spaces is taken up by this farming machine here, though, so you have to keep that in mind. Some of the other ones are like below the ground, and they like the one from thermal expansion. You put it below the ground, and it gets all the squares above it. This one is above ground. So what happens is we need this axe. So it actually needs a constant filling of axes. So as a tree grows, which we can probably speed up, let's go get some bone meal. And we can speed this up. Let's get rid of this. Get some bone meal. I'm not gonna throw it through the grinder. I'm just gonna do that. It's not as efficient, but oh well. We can get some more bones pretty easily. Alright, so let's get a tree to grow, and I'll show you how fast this is. Oh wow. So the axe immediately broke. That's a oh, it's only chopping parts of the tree. There you go. That's crazy. So let me talk about this in a few seconds. It is actually replenishing based on the saplings that are, so the saplings automatically go into this and are filled up in here, which is good. And it stores the wood in here. We need to actually export that wood out. But you saw that it was going through axes. So the axes I have being created down here below. And they're automatically created and automatically piped into here. So it'll use up axes and replenish them automatically, which is a requirement for this system. And of course, since this is a tree farm, wood is easy to come by, so we have them made out of wood. As you see, if you have a big tree, it'll only chop parts of it at a time. So now what we have now is this system down here. We have the power. So this is the power. We have a simple basic capacitor from Ender IO, powered by 2 coal generators. Each one of these does 60 RF per tick. So we have 120 going into this system here. Back here we have a redstone furnace, which I need to set up all this up. I didn't turn on these pipings, so let's turn this on real quick. We have to set it to always active. It's always piping things out. There you go. The wood's being piped out. It should be going in here, and from here it'll go into either here. Yes, we have 64 in here now. And when it's done from there, it should go into this. This has no power though. We need to get power to this. There's a few things I forgot to set up. So we need power going through here. This should automatically accept, insert. Oh, these are not connected, are they? Oh no, there they are. So we have, it should pop out from here and go follow this line to this. So extract into this. Does this have to be set up? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so you need to set this up to input into this. And so things will come out of here and then go into this automatically, even though this doesn't look like it's correct. It says 36. Okay. So extract is red. And this is insert is okay, so this needs to be brown. Extract is brown, which should go into here, and then from here to go out to this. Okay, that sounds better. This should be automatic. Always active. Always active. Always active. The tree grew up. So these produce giant trees. I'm gonna split these up a little bit so that we get more stuff here. These will produce giant trees. These saplings, as you just saw, and of course they'll go through several axes on its when it's to chop down one tree, which is fine. We can use up the wood. We have lots of wood. We produce lots of wood from this. And so the system, how the system works. So what we have here is the crafter. This is where the axes are made. We take in wood. We have to convert the wood into planks, and we have to convert the planks into sticks in order to craft a axe. And I'm sure you're familiar with how an axe looks in a crafting recipe. And we get an axe and outputs an axe. So it always has 4 in hand. So we always have 4 to pull from, and then of course it automatically will pipe out and go back up to here. And so let me show you the piping system. So these are all conduits. There's different conduits from Ender.io. There are item conduits, there are energy conduits, and as you can see, they take up only a small section of a single block. So you can actually stack both items and energy and even redstone. Also redstone conduits, which I have back here. And I'll explain this setup here in a second. So what we have to get this thing going is we have axes being piped into this. And then we have wood being piped out of it. And of course, eventually we'll have saplings. Once we have an excess of saplings, once these boxes are all filled up, which I think they can only hold 16, then they'll start pumping into this, and then from here they'll pipe out into this box, this drawer right here when they're needing to be filled up. And of course, it won't work until we actually. No, it should work. Yeah. So we got brown. So how these conduits work is we can click, right-click on these, and we can choose the conduit type. We have this green one is the item conduits, and the red one is the energy conduits. And so you have a insert and an exert function, and with the exert, you can change the color. So you can go through different colors. As you can see, all kinds of different colors we can choose from. And this has to correspond with, wow, why did this grow down here? These are some weird trees. Okay, that was weird. Don't know why I did that. But, okay. So we can set channels. These are called channels. And so, for instance, let's say we want to have extract. We want to take things from this container and put them into this container. Well, we need to set the output channel, which is extract, to brown, and this input channel has to be brown, which means we're pumping out of this and putting them into this. Now, if this was brown as well, which it is, things will also go into this channel. So this also go in this container. So anything on brown will come out of this box and go into either or anything that's labeled as brown as far as the connected pipes are concerned. If you don't want anything, like this one right here is not piped into it, you can actually go in here and you could say uncheck the extract and insert, and nothing will be piped into those. So you can do that as well. Let me go grab a cable because I'm running out of coal. So let's set up another cable, which I forgot to do earlier. And let's set it up for, we need 1 energy cable. We need to pipe out of our battery and into our furnace so that we can start producing coal. Let's put one right here. So as you can see, this section right here has 3 different kinds of cables. We have the power, which is pumping into this. We have the redstone. We also have the items. Alright, so we have these 2 being piped in here. And as you can see, we have a insert arrow, which goes into this box, and an output arrow, which goes out of this box. And so what we're doing now is we're taking wood from here and piping it out of here into anything that inputs into red. Like this one right here. This one will take in red items. So we'll look at this section here. We're actually inserting anything that's red on the red channel. And we're extracting on blue. So anything blue will go back out. And of course the output of this is the axis, which goes back into here. So as we can see, this is blue for the insert. So the other thing that we need, that we want to have wood go into is also back here, which is this furnace. We want wood to go in the furnace, so we have to have our item conduit set to red, and it pipes in wood into here. And then it outputs the stuff into this drawer here, which then pipes out of here and goes into this generator and this generator. And one specific thing about this is that I wanted to have an equal amount in both generators. So how you do this is you do a round robin. And all this means is that it'll put one in this one and then one in this one. It'll just alternate between any inputs that are connected to it. And so there's only two, so it'll alternate between these two containers. And so this is what will power up our system continuously. And so that's why we have these things going. They're running, and then they're feeding directly into this battery. This battery is the central storage for all of our machines, which would be the furnace, the farming station, as well as this crafter here. Those are all the power needs for this entire setup. And these two generators should be more than enough to contribute to all the power needs. This rarely kicks on. It uses a small amount of power, but it rarely kicks on. Only when it has to produce another wooden axe will it actually kick on. This is continuously going at 40 RF per tick. And then this will be continuously going at what? 20 RF per tick. So that's 60. The last part of this setup is I introduced this RF monitor. And what this does is it, depending on what is selected, it'll see if there is how much power is in it. And then it'll produce a redstone signal. So what I have is I have it producing a redstone signal when the basic capacitor is less than 80%. So when it hits 80%, it quits producing a redstone signal. But if it's less than 80%, it'll produce a redstone signal. And what I have then is I have a redstone conduit, which goes into the two generators. And what this does is it it's a little bit weird how this is phrased, but essentially this is a input. So you're actually inputting a redstone signal into the network here. And I just chose red because it's redstone. Doesn't matter what color you choose. You can choose any color. And then it's outputting from the network into the two generators. And both generators are set to only be active when a redstone signal is on. So essentially what this is saying is that when this is 80% or less, these two will be fired on. When it hits 80%, they'll shut off. Or they'll finish burning the coal they were using, and then they will no longer kick on because there'll be no redstone signal that's being fed to them. And so this is really good to efficiently use your coal, because if I didn't have this set up, let's say our basic capacitor bank just used like 1 tick worth of power, so 60 RF. Well, then these two would kick on and try to fill this up. And when this is full, they would then, fill up. And when they hit 50,000 or 500,000 RF, every time this thing ticks, it would burn 1 coal on both of these, which is not very efficient. You're just wasting coal at that point. So this is just a way to make this more efficient in how you use your coal, which makes the entire system not burn as much coal as it needs to. And so the only other problem that I have with this is that this will fill up, and so will this. This drawer will fill up. So eventually it's the point where these are both filled up. And what I could do is I could actually go in and just put like a void on here. You can just fill these up with upgrades. These are the drawers. And you can upgrade them. So you can just give them like, 32 times storage, or 8 times storage. Doesn't matter. There's a guy out here. He'll probably attack me here in a second. So let's go take care of him. There he is. I'm just gonna go to sleep real quick. Then we'll finish up this explanation. And that'll be the end of the episode. Alright. Some bread in us. These big trees are definitely interesting. It's a lot of wood though. They produce a lot of wood, which is nice. Alright, so this is this is eating up a lot of power right now. Because this is using up a lot of power to cut this tree down. So when it does find a tree, it does eat up a lot of power, but these two will definitely fill it up. They'll fill it back up enough to make a difference in the amount of power usage. So I'm guessing I would just go with at least 2 at a minimum of coal generators, but if you need to do 3 or 4, that would probably be recommended, just so that you know you have enough power. What is that noise? Okay. I think I've heard it before, but that seems really loud for some reason. Okay, so that's this system in a nutshell. So we went through the farming station, the interface, must-have wood axes. I think it can only take up, it only has room for 1. What you need to do, you can put shears in here. You can also put in a what is that? A hoe. You can put a hoe in there. And an axe, so it takes 1 of each. You can also put in some fertilizer if you wanted to, so we can actually get a fertilizer setup where it's constantly giving us the fertilizing these trees and making them grow, which is another option if we needed to go that route. If we needed some more wood right away, we can do that. And this is filling up with coal, which is great. Eventually we get to the point where we'll have an excess of coal, and we'll be able to pipe in our coal into our other system, which we can power. So in order for that, we'll get to that in another episode, but we'll be able to have a coal-powered system in our base in the near future using this setup. And so this is a fully automated system. It's self-powered. It's definitely producing an excess amount of power, so we shouldn't have any power issues with this system. And the end result is we'll have an excess of coal. So that eventually we'll have an excess of coal being fed into this drawer, which we can then feed into the rest of our other systems. We could just replace this drawer with, say, like a ender chest or whatever. And that is going to be it for the system. I'll have to put a void on this drawer, and probably a void on this one as well. What I'm going to do next is upgrade these into, right now they go and store 32 stacks. I'm going to upgrade these to where they can store like probably 2,000 stacks. We'll have 2,000 stacks of wood in this setup, and we'll have 2,000 stacks of coal here. We'll be able to pipe the excess into another chest, or even another storage system as we get set up with our storage system. Yeah, this is actually using a lot of power. Huh. I didn't think it would use up that much power, which is a little concerning. So I'm gonna have to go with next steps will be to upgrade this power generation. Maybe go with 4. So I'll probably just dig it underneath and then just have just a couple more, and I'll hook them up to the same redstone signals here and here. So I'll do that in between episodes, and I'll show you that in the next episode. Alright, so that's the system in a nutshell. that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.